It's an all Blue Jays edition of Harvey's Hot Takes with Bryan Hayes from Overdrive on TSN Radio. Bryan, the Blue Jays, what a team. They have the Yankees on the brink, thanks in large part to the heroics of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Listen, you and I talked about him in September. It was rough at times. There's no sugarcoating that. But his performance through the first two games of the postseason, is that enough to convince you, Bryan Hayes, that it was worth giving him that $500 million?
Well, it's certainly a good start towards that. And it is only, 2 games at this point. I think most Blue Jay fans are understanding of that, as much as it was just a wild party over the weekend down at the Sky Dome. But it's funny, when you talk about contracts, especially massive deals like the one that Vladdy signed, generally it's a one-way street in terms of when it comes up during the season. It's when you're either playing poorly or your team is losing, right? That's when it comes up. That's when it gets crazy. You mentioned it. Team was winning, although sputtering at times in September, but Vladdy wasn't playing that well. So $500 million came up. When he would struggle at times in the year, $500 million came up. When the Jays were struggling in April and parts of May, $500 million would come up. It doesn't come up when you're winning and when you're playing great, right? It just becomes a celebration of the player, and it's understood that that's what comes with the territory. That's what comes with the contract. $500 million, you're the face of a franchise. There's going to be a bright spotlight on you. And what Vladdy has done through 2 games is nothing short of spectacular. And the reality is, in sports, if you want to win a championship, any sport, pick one, baseball, hockey, football, basketball, you can go on and on and on. Your best player has got to set the tone. Your best player's got to show up, and he's got to lead. And that's exactly what Vladdy's done. And it's allowed other players to show up and be great too, like Dalton Varsho, like Ernie Clement, like Nathan Lucas, like Trey Savage, Kevin Gausman. I could go on and on and on, but Vladdy has been the pace car. And this kind of money, the reality is, all you have to do is win. If you win once, and I'm talking a championship, then it's justified. One World Series, and it's justified, and it's over. It doesn't mean that the money won't come up down the stretch as a footnote, but it will not be the leading point of any conversations the rest of his career. We're talking the next 15 years, Jay. If they win a World Series this year, that's it. And the deal hasn't even kicked in yet. And everyone will say, what a contract, what a brilliant play. You allowed Vladdy to feel calm in the playoffs, and he went out there and justified all this money that he's going to get in the future. One championship justifies it, from the owner, from the president, from the manager, all the way down to the player. And again, it's only 2 wins. They're just getting started here, but it was the best start you could possibly ask for from the Blue Jays, and a big part of that was because of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Bryan, as you know, the Blue Jays gave up one of their top pitching prospects in Cal Steven to acquire Shane Bieber at the trade deadline. Now Shane Bieber will be starting Game 3 for the Blue Jays against the Yankees, the chance to close this thing out. Can you think of any more ideal scenario for this team, Bryan Hayes, than having Bieber on the mound to start this game?
No, I can't. I think it's a perfect setup. Cy Young winner, a veteran guy who's going to go into Yankee Stadium, and all he's thinking is, I have to shut these guys up. I got to shut this whole stadium up in the first inning. He's got to get out of the first inning clean. If he does that, the whole mood is going to change at Yankee Stadium, because we've all been in this position before. I've been in it. You've been in it, Jay. Any sports fan throughout the country has walked into a stadium when their team is not in a good place, and they've forced it, right? They've been faking it. You go in there, and Yankee fans are going to do that tomorrow night. They're going to fake it. They're going to show up and pretend that they believe. They're going to show up and pretend that they have confidence in their team. They're going to get loud, but it's going to be bogus. And if Bieber can go in there and shut them down early, and if it coincides with the bats coming alive early, which is what we saw in the first 2 games, you will hear a balloon pop at Yankee Stadium. No one will have belief in that team, including, I think, the players, the manager, the coaching staff in the dugout. So I think it's a massive opportunity for Shane Bieber to close this series out, and that's what he's got to be thinking here. Sure, you're eventually going to go to the bullpen. No one goes 9 innings anymore, especially in the playoffs, and I don't think anyone should be expecting that out of Bieber. But this is why they took the gamble to go get him. It's looked great so far, and let's be frank here, Jay. Everything this front office has done for the Blue Jays has paid off. right? Through the first two games, we saw Louis Varland. We saw Sir Anthony Dominguez. We've seen the acquisitions supply production to help them get to 2-0. The biggest acquisition they made at the trade deadline is the guy on the mound on Tuesday night at Yankee Stadium. And if Bieber can go in there and shut them up and shut them down early, that sets the tone for the Jays to close this series out. It's a perfect setup for him, perfect setup for the Blue Jays.
And for the Blue Jays, it'll be Bieber against, for the Yankees, Carlos Rodon in a battle of veterans in game number 3 as the Jays try to close it out. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Bryan Hayes.
Hot Takes is presented by Harvey's. This fall, add crispy jalapenos and ghost pepper sauce to your Harvey's Angus burger and poutine. Now that's smoking hot. Harvey's, it's a beautiful thing.